Welcome to the rest stop on the digital highway in this corner of the DC universe. Once again, I am your host, the Hijacker, as we journey down this particular episode of Stargirl. This is episode 3, and I gotta tell you, this journey is fun-loving, and I'm loving it all. So, once again, it picks up with the ground running. Icicle is back in town and he's taking charge once again of the American dream and everything. And he has a plan in mind. So it starts off with 8 years ago. 8 years ago, his wife was dying of cancer. And it's kind of like reminiscent of the Star-Lord origin in Guardians of the Galaxy, where, her son, who is Cameron, comes to her with a drawing, and it's a really tender, beautiful scene. She's surrounded by her family, Icicle's parents, and she has a loving goodbye. Well, starts out as a loving goodbye with her son until she's overcome, and she whispers into Jordan's ear, "Make them all pay." So he has a mission. Jordan has a mission to make the people who obviously maybe were responsible for the toxin or the toxicity of her cancer, and he sets off around the world to do so. Now, I think what's very important here is that um, Jordan is coming from the viewpoint, as most villains do, which they're great, is that he doesn't see himself as a villain. He sees himself as an avenger, as someone who is getting revenge for the death of his wife. So I wouldn't say he sees himself as a hero, but he doesn't see himself as the villain of the story. And he has been traveling the country, as he reveals later to the wizard that, he's been traveling the country, getting his revenge on the different organizations responsible for the toxin which caused his wife's cancer. So that also leads to his overall plan or overarching plan with the American Dream Company, as he says in the meeting with his team, that they want to build a new America, one factory at a time. So in both his villain identity and his civilian identity, there is a plan and everything. And that plan doesn't come from, I want to take over the world, kind of like the original Injustice Society or the world plan to carve up the country and, each take a piece of it. They want to actually create a new America, as they say. Their plans are altruistic, but obviously they don't care about who gets killed in the process. Now, what I thought was really interesting here was the fact that this is 8 years ago, which means that it's 7 years ago that they've all killed the Justice Society, or he's been continuing to go around the world to defeat the Justice Society and grind them under his heels, so to speak. And like in that time frame, then after they were, bad guys, they had kids, and their kids are growing up, and then they decide that Blue Valley is the place that they're going to settle, and that's why all their kids are in Blue Valley High School. And this is great. This is what's really great about this, is that each episode gives us a new reveal. Now, I obviously want to be dealing with, I wouldn't say spoilers because I don't know what happens on each episode, but dealing with the comic book origins of these characters. So we have a scene where we see Harry Potter, William's son, the magician, doing a party trick for Courtney. And it's a good test of who Courtney is. Like, here's this kid who wants to be a magician, like his father, the wizard. And he pulls off a party trick, but gets it wrong, like pick a card, that kind of trick. Now, behind her is this kid who is just kind of like, peeking in, and you can see that he's peeking in. So he sees that the kid, Joey, gets it wrong, and Courtney doesn't call him out on it. So he thinks, oh, okay, nice girl, because he's a nice guy. Because this is the kid from the opening. This is the Icicle's son, Cameron, who they later reveal, but, obviously we know. So that's kind of cool because later, like, what's going to happen? Are they going to become enemies? Or because they start out with this kind of weird friendship, like in the classroom, Courtney discovers that he's an artist and he covers up the locker for Yolanda when she was a victim of slut shaming and everything, which is kind of cool too, because again, remember, this is not a CW show, it's a DC Universe show. So they use the word slut shaming, and and what did she actually do? Was she a victim of Henry Brainwave Jr., with the pictures? Like, did he, take pictures of her without her knowledge, and then they reversed it on her? Was she a victim of Cindy, with the white hair? Because we know Cindy is a real is another villain's child. But not yet. We just think she's a mean girl. But was she responsible for the slut shaming and the pictures? Because you had the nerve to try to date my boyfriend. But Cameron covers up her locker with flowers, which was nice and beautiful. But Courtney realizes that it was him. So they make another connection. So again, two connections that they could be friends, like as we'll discuss in predictions in the end. So anyway, so we're introduced to two villains kids, or three if you want to look at it that way, with Cindy. But we only have Courtney pass by Rex Tyler, who is the Arrowman's son. And again, he doesn't say much, but he just enters the scene. So it's kind of like what they call symmetry or pearls, and it'll come back later, about who he will be. But for now, he's just a guy who passes through the scene and everything. And that's really good for a show that likes to build blocks along the way. So that way, when you go back, you go, aha, aha, and how clever that they did that. So that's how we're dealing with the school activities and stuff like that. At home, Courtney is energetic. She doesn't even want to go to school. She wants to, go after the next villain and everything. And she doesn't know it's Icicle yet, but she just wants to like go after the villain. So Pat is, telling her to be cautious. We got to take our time and investigate. And so she's like, well, let me know. Just pull me out of class if you have to, and everything. And that's what lets her to go into school. So Barbara is remember, this is played by Amy Smart. So, obviously she's not just a random girl, like, so she's integral to the storyline as it goes. So basically, because she lets us know she grew up in Blue Valley, she lets Jordan know when they explain their plan for the factories and everything, that well, that place was a theater and it was really good for the community. So he thinks, well, yeah, Mo, if we're trying to build a new America and everything and plant these things, let's do something a bit of good in that as well. So he thinks it's a good idea, even though Sharp, the gambler, doesn't, but he's quickly talked down and stuff. So he wants her involved. Now, this is what's curious to me, is that, like when he goes to Barbara's office and he sees the picture of the blind girl, who's a daughter, and Pat. Now, Pat didn't wear a disguise, you know what I mean? So when they fought, Pat's just running around in a striped shirt. But maybe, funny enough, that's how insignificant Pat was as Stripesy. That the icicle is not even a thought in his mind that this guy is important. Even though he drove Starman off, and everything, and he has to send Solomon to do the final takedown. Um, he doesn't recognize Pat. So I thought that was kind of weird, or was he just being a good actor and he did recognize Pat, as well as he recognized that that must be the blonde girl with curls. So I don't know. And if it might be revealed that this is all a master plan to keep Barbara close, or not, I don't know. But I'm intrigued and I can't wait to find out. We find out also Pat goes to the hospital to check in on Brainwave and find out his condition and how he got there. And to know that he wasn't in costume, he realizes and he makes the notion that the Injustice Society are here. So there is a threat. There's a big threat. going. Um, so anyway, so they had the fight. So basically, Icicle lays out ice star, for her to find. Creates really big and everything, and she gets Pat, and Stars and Stripes comes back to it, and it's it's regular now, but he's there because he can. I don't know. I mean, he's pretty omniscient in a way. So anyway, so they had their first fight, and Icicle freezes up the joints of Stripe. They don't have a big fight. Him and Stargirl don't have a big fight because Stripe actually, releases the fist. Remember that in episode 2, the fist wasn't really working, but he's got it working, and so he sends Icicle all the way over to the bridge. So he thinks nothing of it. He just sends him far away. Gives him time to, heat up his joints and everything to defrost. Stargirl, sees that it's on the bridge, and Icicle decides to ice up the bridge. Now, what happens there is that there's a busload of kids. Joey went to, do a performance, and he's got young Beth Chapel with him on the bus and everything. And if you blink, you'll miss it, but the Fiddler's son was on the bus as well and everything, and well as Joey, the magician's son or the wizard's son. So Icicle, freezes the bridge, and bus is about to go over, and instead of Stargirl going over there, because obviously she got an energy staff, what she's going to do about a bus, right? She doesn't have super strength. So Pat manages to catch the bus and put it back onto the bridge. It doesn't matter that Joey sees his metal face as he says, "The kid's looking right at me." So Stargirl goes, "I'll stop that," and she blinds, them and everything, and Pat's gone. So did we see a giant robot or did we not? That's what the kids are probably supposed to think. So as they getting out of the bus, Icicle's like, "I'm not having this. I'm going to, distract Joey," pulls him out, and then all of a sudden, randomly, a car just comes along and hits him. Now, we're surprised by this because even though they don't show it, they show us Stargirl's reaction. It's kind of like this never would have happened on the CW. And so you got to give it up to the DC universe. I'm really going to be saddened when this show in season 2, does it stay on the DC universe or does it just completely be on the CW? Because I mean, I love this tack they're taking. Anyway, so he kills. I didn't think this would happen anyway. He kills Joey, and the wizard goes straight to Jordan because he knows he's been involved. So he says, "Please tell me it was an accident." And, but he knows it wasn't. And so Icicle decides to kill the guy that he left in charge because you're too weak. You don't understand. And he has a great speech with him about you crave the audience adulations and stuff like that. And I just thought that was fantastic speech. But we realized that Jordan doesn't crave anything like that. And evil is back in charge. So we hear from a news report that both father and son are dead. Courtney's upset. And then Pat decides to take her to the headquarters of the Justice Society. Now, they must have had to fly across the country because remember, they're in Nebraska, and the Justice Society more than likely was like in New York. But, hey, they could do it. Anyway, great Hall of Justice, and I love how all the trinkets around and the big Easter egg of the Thunderbolt print. Don't touch the Thunderbolt. I love it because then we know we're getting Jakeem, even though we haven't heard anything about Jakeem Thunder. But I'm excited to see Jakeem Thunder. So I mean, this is going long, but Courtney decided that we need to recruit a team. So I can't wait for the next episode and everything. And finally, for the new Young Legacy team to be put together. So this is the hijacker. That's the end of the sequence on the rest stop. Time to get back on the road and everything. And join me on this luscious journey through the Stargirl series. And follow us again for Stargirl in episode 4. Thank you.